Next up at number 8 is Eri Bunkaku series. I love this one. This is an anthology of 6 well-known Japanese literary works made into an anthology series by Madhouse in 2009. And for the most part, they're pretty cerebral and dark and dramatic in their depictions of the human condition. Eri Bunkaku is well known for its adaptation of No Longer Human, focused on the societal outcast trying to find meaning in his life after he gets deemed an outcast by his family and society in general when he attempts suicide with a prostitute, and he winds up being the only survivor of the failed suicide attempt. It is very cerebral. The animation style of it was used to depict the deteriorating mental condition of the outcast. And this animation is also used to full effect in later works such as Run Nalos, which blurs reality and fantasy on a struggling playwright who often gets himself immersed in some of the scenes from his play, as he's also thinking about a falling out that he had with a friend from long ago, and also with The Spider's Thread, which depicts a serial killer's descent into hell as he interacts with a spider, and some very disturbing scenery as he tries to escape hell with one final chance offered to him from the spider. This does offer high quality visuals, and many of the works are tragic, dark, or disturbing in their depictions. Now, if you're looking for anything cerebral or good horror or thriller, then you can't go wrong with checking out the works within Eri Bunkaku series. Next up at number 7 is Ra Sephron. Yes, this is my favorite mecha title, so Eva fans, if you have any objections, deal with it. Some have accused Ra Sephron of being an Eva knockoff, and while Ra Sephron does follow some of the typical cliches you can find in mecha anime, it does have its own identity, and I do find it to be of a better caliber than Evangelion, because unlike Eva, Ra Sephron does have a more smoother narrative. Its characters aren't depressed train wrecks like the ones that Hideaki Anno cynically dumps them into. And since it's a more recent anime title, the animation quality is of a better caliber, and it doesn't run into any shortcomings with its animation budget. And yes, I imagine enough Eva fans are going to be flaming the hell out of me since I'm praising the hell out of Ra Sephron. Basically the series is focused on a teen named Ayato Kamina who finds himself thrown into a conflict with an alien race known as the Mulians, and he comes to know that the war that he thought of as Tokyo, since he was told that Tokyo was the only city in the war that was left with human existence, was not as it seems, and time has actually changed, and he was caught in this phenomena that isolated him from the world for 12 years, and he becomes entangled in a conflict between a society, a military organization tasked with fighting off the Mulians called Terra, and the Mulian race itself. Basically, the whole series is about Ayato trying to find out what his true past is, as the series offers up enough plot twists regarding the motives of certain characters and factions, as we come to learn that some of the characters within Terra actually have connections to the Moulians in general, and we come to learn more about the nature of a mysterious Gora named Haruka, whom Ayato usually interacts with, and the mecha that Ayato pilots called Ra-Sephon. The animation, as I've discussed before, the animation quality is gorgeous. It doesn't run into any shortcomings with its budget like Evangelion did for its later episodes, since it didn't try bumping up the level of its content, and as a powerful epic soundtrack complements Yoko Kanno contributing to the series. It is my personal favorite mecha series. I do own it in my collection, and if there's anyone looking for a good mecha title who isn't so impressed with the cynicism and plot hole drivel mess that Evangelion got itself into, then try giving Ra-Sephon a shot, and you might be more impressed by what you see. Next up at number 6 is Perfect Blue. This is the best quality Satoshi Kon film that I've come across. It's basically a horror thriller title focused on a former pop idol named Mima, who's trying to move her focus onto becoming a successful actress for movies and TV shows. And a deranged fan is not impressed with her career transition and is actively trying to stalk her. This movie is not afraid to mess with your perceptions of events taking place, as one moment you think that Mima's insanity is dropping, and then the next you just get transitioned to her acting out in a movie scene. Let's see. This is the very first movie that Satoshi Kon directed, and it does have all his typical features that you would expect. And it makes for a solid thriller horror title as you experience the psychological breakdown of Mima as she deals with her stalker and someone close to her also suffering mental stability loss from her career transition into becoming an actress. So, if you like horror, check out Perfect Blue. Next off at number 5 is Kiki's Delivery Service. One of my personal favorite Studio Ghibli films. This is focused on a young witch named Kiki who is part of a rite of passage tradition within her family. She settles in a town for a year to learn about personal responsibility and independence. It's basically a coming-of-age title where Kiki is about to go into adulthood and learns not to be as dependent on others as she used to, along with possibly experiencing a first love. This symbolism is portrayed through use of her rich powers, such as flying on her broom and communicating with her pet cat Gigi. The animation highlight for the movie comes from its broom flying scenes, which are quite a sight to see, and it basically features the typical stuff you could expect from a Studio Ghibli Hayao Miyazaki film. Focus on Gora's coming of age, no antagonist to be found whatsoever, and this is probably one of the most wholesome, family-friendly Studio Ghibli films you have a chance to see, and it was one of the very first Ghibli films that Walt Disney Pictures had worked on dubbing here in the U.S. when they first made their deal with Ghibli. And so if you're looking for a family-friendly anime title to show to your kids or loved ones, you can't go wrong with Kiki's Delivery Service. Next up at number 4 is Serial Experiments Lane. This is my favorite mind job title. Anyone who's regularly seen my videos on YouTube likely already know what I've covered with Lane in my old anime collector reviews. All in the series is not what it seems, and it explored, and it was ahead of its time in exploring the challenges when it comes to network technologies like the internet, such as hackers, addiction, and reality becoming immersed with virtual ward and so forth, along with exploring Lane's origins. So if you're looking for a good cyberpunk title, you can't go wrong with Lane.